Mechanic's daughter gave Queen her first cake. Grease covered Lily's hands as she tightened the bolt on the thruster panel. 12 years old and already she could rebuild a cargo hauler's engine faster than most adults. Her father always said she had her mother's steady hands and patient heart. The orbital shipyard of New Perth hummed with activity around them, metal clanging against metal as dozens of repair crews worked on vessels from across the galaxy. David Harris wiped sweat from his forehead and smiled at his daughter. His small repair shop wasn't fancy, but it was honest work. They fixed what others said couldn't be fixed. That reputation kept food on the table and Lily in school. Lily sat back and pulled out her notebook. Between repairs, she always sketched. Today she was drawing a layered cake with strawberries on top. Her mother's old cookbook sat in their quarters, pages worn soft from use. Baking reminded her of better days before the accident that took her mom away 2 years ago. A shadow fell across the shipyard. Lily looked up and gasped. The largest vessel she had ever seen was limping toward their dock. Its hull bore scorch marks and meteor damage. The ship was elegant despite its wounds, painted in deep purple and silver. Strange symbols decorated its sides. David stood and his face went pale. He recognized those symbols. Altorian Empire, the insect people from the far reaches of known space, warriors who conquered planets and rarely spoke to other species. The ship's docking request came through on David's communicator. His hands shook as he accepted. Within minutes, armored figures emerged from the vessel. They stood over 7 feet tall, their bodies covered in chitinous plates that gleamed like polished stone. Compound eyes reflected the shipyard lights. Mandibles clicked as they spoke in their own language, translated through devices on their chests. Commander Hillrith stepped forward. His armor bore marks of countless battles. He looked at David's small shop with obvious contempt. "You are the mechanic here." David nodded. "Yes, sir, David Harris, how can I help?" "Our ship requires immediate repair. We must reach the neutral station for a diplomatic summit within 3 cycles. All major shipyards turned us away. You are our final option." The way Hillrith said it made clear what he thought of that option. "I'll need to assess the damage first," David said, keeping his voice steady. "You will begin immediately. We carry Queen Savara, ruler of the Altorian Empire. Any delay puts peace negotiations at risk. War may come if we fail to arrive on time." Lily moved closer to her father. She had never seen aliens like this before. They looked dangerous, all sharp edges and cold efficiency. But then she noticed movement behind the guards. A figure stood at the observation window of the great ship, smaller than the warriors, wearing robes instead of armor. The Queen, Lily guessed. Their eyes met across the distance. The Queen's compound eyes were different somehow, softer maybe. Lily raised her hand in a small wave. For a long moment nothing happened. Then the Queen lifted her hand and waved back. It was hesitant, uncertain, like she wasn't sure if she was allowed. The guards noticed. They moved to block the window, clicking their mandibles in agitation. Commander Hillrith turned sharply. "The Queen should not be at the window. This is improper." David cleared his throat. "Commander, I can fix your ship, but I need to inspect the damage first. My daughter Lily helps me. She's good with systems." Hillrith looked at Lily like she was an insect herself. "A child. Your human weakness shows. In Altorian culture, youth serve only to learn warfare and duty. They do not play at adult work." "She doesn't play," David said firmly. "She works and she's skilled." The commander made a dismissive sound but didn't argue further. He led them to the damaged sections of the hull. As they walked, Lily asked, "Why did the Queen look so sad?" Hillrith stopped. "Sad? Queens do not feel sadness. They are raised for duty alone. Queen Savara has ruled for 1 cycle since her coronation. She knows only responsibility." "But everyone feels things," Lily said, "even if they don't show it." "Ignorant human child. Altorian queens are trained from hatching in complete isolation. They consume only nutritional paste optimized for maximum health. They form no personal attachments. Physical pleasures are weaknesses that compromise judgment. Queen Savara is perfect in her duty. Lily frowned. That sounded like a prison, not a life. Her mother used to say that food made with love tasted better than any recipe could explain. That sharing meals meant sharing hearts. A queen who never tasted anything but paste seemed desperately lonely. David examined the damage carefully. 3 days of work, maybe 4. The meteor strike had torn through hull plating and damaged the faster-than-light drive couplings. Difficult but possible. "I can do this," he told Hilrith. 3 days working around the clock. "Acceptable, we will remain docked. My guards will watch your progress. Do not fail." Hilrith's threat was clear. As they headed back to gather tools, Lily tugged her father's sleeve. "Dad, can I use the kitchen unit tonight? I want to bake something." David was mentally calculating repair schedules and parts inventory. "Sure, honey, whatever you want." He wasn't really listening. Lily looked back at the royal ship. Somewhere inside, a queen who had never tasted cake sat alone in her duty. That seemed wrong to Lily. Her mother always said kindness cost nothing but meant everything. Maybe she could share a little kindness with someone who had never known it. The repair work was about to begin, but something else was starting too, something that would change more than just a damaged ship. Lily didn't know it yet, but her simple plan to bake a cake would shake an empire and teach a queen what it meant to choose her own path. Night shift meant quiet on the station. Most crews slept while essential systems hummed in the background. David worked under the Altorian ship, his welding torch casting blue light across twisted metal. The damage was worse than he first thought, but he had dealt with worse. His hands moved with practiced confidence. Inside their small quarters, Lily measured flour and sugar. The kitchen unit was basic, designed for quick meals, but her mother had made magic with less. She cracked eggs carefully, remembering how her mom showed her to check for shells. The vanilla extract was real, imported from Earth. Her father bought it last year for her birthday. It cost more than their monthly food budget. The cake batter came together smoothly. Lily poured it into the pan and set the timer. While it baked, she thought about the queen behind all those guards. What did it feel like to never taste something just because it made you happy? Her mother used to say food was love made visible. A queen without that seemed like a person without color in their life. The cake cooled on the counter. Lily cut a small slice and wrapped it carefully in clean cloth. Dawn was breaking over the station, artificial lights mimicking a sun that existed light years away. She walked toward the docked royal vessel with her offering held gently. 2 Altorian guards stood at the entrance ramp. They saw Lily approaching and moved to block her path. Mandibles clicked in warning. One guard's translation device crackled to life. "Halt! Unauthorized approach to royal vessel. Leave immediately." "I just want to give this to the queen," Lily said, holding up the wrapped cake. "It's a gift." "No gifts accepted. Security protocols forbid unexamined items. Depart now or face detention." Lily stood her ground. "It's just cake. I made it myself. Please just let her know I'm here." The guards moved closer, their armored forms blocking out the light. Lily felt very small and very foolish. Maybe this was a terrible idea, but then she saw movement at the observation window above. Queen Savara stood there, looking down at the confrontation. The queen's voice came through the ship's external speakers. "Allow the human child to approach." Commander Hilrith appeared beside the guards. "Your Majesty, this violates security protocols. We cannot permit unknown substances near you." "I gave an order, Commander. Will you refuse your queen?" Silence fell heavy and tense. Finally, Hilrith gestured sharply. "Escort her to the queen's chambers. Full security scan first." They scanned Lily 3 times, checking the cake for weapons or poisons or anything dangerous. It was just cake. Finally, they led her through corridors of polished metal into a large room. The queen's chambers had no decoration, no personal items, nothing that spoke of individual taste. It looked like a beautiful prison cell. Queen Sivara stood by the window, up close. Lily could see she was younger than the warriors, more delicate somehow. Her robes were fine but plain. "You are the mechanic's daughter, the one who waved." "Yes, Your Majesty, I'm Lily Harris. I brought you something." She unwrapped the cake slice carefully. The queen approached and examined it with curiosity. "What is this item's purpose?" "It appears to be processed nutrients arranged decoratively." "It's cake. You eat it, but not because you have to. You eat it because it tastes good and makes you happy." Savara tilted her head. "I do not understand. Food serves to fuel the body for duty. Taste is irrelevant. Happiness from consumption indicates dangerous addiction to physical pleasure." Lily felt sad hearing that. "That's not true. My mom used to make cakes for birthdays and celebrations. She said sharing food is how people show they care about each other. It's not about addiction, it's about joy." "Joy?" The queen repeated the word like it was foreign. "My tutors taught that joy distracts from purpose. Queens must remain focused on duty alone." "Have you ever even tried cake, or anything made just to taste good?" Savara was quiet for a moment. "No, I consume only optimized nutritional paste. It provides exact requirements for health. Nothing more is needed." "But don't you ever want something more?" Lily held out the cake. "Just try one bite. If you don't like it, I'll leave and never bother you again." The queen looked at the cake, then at Lily, then back at the cake. Her guards watched with obvious concern. Commander Hilrith stood rigid with disapproval. Finally, Savara reached out and took the slice. She studied it closely, her scientific training evident. "Just taste it," Lily encouraged. "Don't analyze it, just see how it makes you feel." Queen Savara took a small, careful bite. She froze. Her compound eyes went very wide. Her antennae quivered in a way that made the guards step forward in alarm. For several long seconds she didn't move at all, didn't react. Then she took another bite, and another. Within moments the entire slice was gone. She stared at her empty hands like they held magic. "What was that?" Her voice was barely a whisper. "What did you give me?" "Just vanilla cake. Do you like it?" "Like?" The queen seemed to struggle with the concept. "I have never experienced sensation like this. The taste, the texture, the way it made me feel. Is this normal for human food?" "Some food, yeah, the good stuff anyway." Commander Hilrith stepped forward, his voice sharp. "Your Majesty, this human has corrupted you with pleasure substances. This behavior is unacceptable for a queen. I must insist the child be removed and punished for this offense." Savara turned to face her commander. For the first time in her life, she contradicted him directly. "No, Lily Harris is my guest. She will not be punished. She gave me a gift." "Your Majesty, this is most irregular." "I am queen. My word is law. Lily may visit again if she wishes." Savara turned back to Lily. "Will you bring more of this cake tomorrow?" Lily smiled. "I'll bring a different kind, chocolate next time." "I do not know what chocolate is, but I wish to experience it." Lily left the royal chambers with guards escorting her out. Behind her, Queen Savara stood alone, touching her mandibles where traces of sweetness remained. Something had awakened in her, a question she never thought to ask. If this one small pleasure existed, what else had she been denied? What else was possible beyond duty and isolation? She looked out the window at the stars and wondered what choice actually felt like. David found Lily in the kitchen at dawn, melting chocolate with intense focus. Dark cocoa from Earth's remaining groves cost more than most people earned in a month. She was using the last of their supply. "Lily, what are you doing with that chocolate? That special occasion stuff." "This is a special occasion, Dad. The Queen never tasted anything good her whole life. That's worth our best chocolate." He wanted to argue, to explain they couldn't afford to waste expensive ingredients on alien royalty. But his daughter's face held the same determined kindness her mother always showed. He sighed and helped her pour the batter. The chocolate cake emerged from the oven perfectly. Rich dark layers cooled while Lily made frosting. She worked with her mother's recipe cards spread across the counter, following instructions written in familiar handwriting. Each recipe felt like holding her mom's hand again. The guards recognized Lily this time. They scanned the cake and let her pass without drama. Queen Savara waited in her chambers, but something was different. Human cultural databases displayed on her wall screens. Information about birthday celebrations, wedding cakes, harvest festivals. She had been researching all night. "Lily Harris, you returned." The Queen sounded pleased. "I promised chocolate cake. I keep my promises." Lily set the cake down and cut 2 slices. "This is my mom's recipe. She made it for important days." They sat together, an odd pair. The young queen of a warrior empire and a mechanic's daughter sharing cake on the floor like friends at a picnic. Savara ate slowly this time, savoring each bite. "I have questions," the queen said between bites. "Why do humans celebrate birth dates? What purpose does it serve?" "It's about marking time, I guess. Celebrating that you're here, that you matter. Don't Altorians celebrate birthdays?" "No, we mark only military victories and territorial expansions. Individual existence is not celebrated. The hive matters. The queen matters as a symbol, but personal milestones are meaningless." Lily thought about that. "When's your birthday, or hatching day, whatever you call it?" "I emerged from my egg on the 3rd day of the conquest month, 15 cycles ago. No celebration occurred. My trainers began my education immediately. I was told I existed for one purpose only, to rule and make decisions that benefit the empire." "That sounds really lonely." "Lonely?" Savara tested the word. "Yes, I believe that is accurate. I have advisors, guards, servants, but no one asks what I want. No one cares if I am happy. I am a weapon aimed by my council. Your cake made me realize something. I have never made a single choice purely for myself. Never, not even once. Every decision I make affects millions. My council prepares options. I select from their choices. But I do not create choices. I do not want things. I simply fulfill my function." Lily reached out and gently touched the queen's armored hand. "You're a person, not a weapon. People get to want things." Savara looked at their touching hands. Physical comfort was forbidden in her training. Queens did not seek or offer affection, yet this small gesture felt more real than anything in her life. "Tomorrow, I must attend a diplomatic summit. My council decided we should form a military alliance with 3 other empires. This alliance will likely lead to war with the Shalier Collective. Many will die, but my advisors say this is strategically sound." "What do you think?" Lily asked. "Not your advisors, you." The queen was quiet for a long time. "I think I am tired of death. I think warfare has cost my people their ability to feel joy. We are strong, but we are hollow, like my chambers, beautiful but empty." "Then don't go to war. Choose peace instead." "It is not that simple. The council has already committed to this path. I am expected to formalize the agreement." "But you're the queen. Can't you just say no?" Savara made a sound that might have been laughter. "In theory, yes. In practice, a queen who defies her council will be seen as weak. They could remove me. My people value strength above all else. Choosing peace, choosing personal happiness, these are not strengths in Altorian culture." They finished the cake in thoughtful silence. Lily noticed how Savara's antennae drooped slightly. The queen looked exhausted, like carrying the weight of an empire was crushing her slowly. "What would you choose?" Lily asked quietly. "If you could choose anything at all with no counsel, no expectations, no rules, what would you want?" The question hung in the air. Savara stared at her empty plate, thinking. "I would want to learn to make this cake myself. I would want to understand how combining simple ingredients creates something that brings joy. I would want to know if other pleasures exist that I have been denied. I would want friends who see me as Savara, not as queen. I would want to make decisions based on what is right, not what is strong. Those are good wants, Lily said. Those are worth fighting for. But fighting for personal happiness while millions depend on my leadership, that seems selfish. I don't think so. My dad says you can't help others if you're broken inside. Maybe your people need a queen who knows joy, so she can help them find it too. Somewhere in the ship, Commander Hilrith was sending encrypted messages to the council. He described the queen's disturbing behavior, her attachment to the human child, her consumption of pleasure foods. He labeled it corruption and weakness. The council received his reports with concern. A political faction saw opportunity. A young queen showing weakness could be replaced. They began making plans. David's repairs progressed ahead of schedule. By tomorrow evening, the ship would be ready to launch. Lily knew their time was running out. She decided to make one more cake, the most important one, something that would help Savara remember that she deserved to choose her own path. The queen sat alone after Lily left, touching her mandibles where chocolate traces remained. She pulled up reports on the diplomatic summit, reading through the military alliance terms. Then she opened a different file, peace proposals, alternative diplomatic approaches, options her council never presented. For the first time in her life, Queen Savara began making her own plan. The council wouldn't approve. Commander Hilrith would object. Her entire empire might reject her choice. But somewhere between vanilla and chocolate cake, she had learned something crucial. Being strong meant having the courage to be kind. Power meant nothing if you had no will of your own. She started drafting a new speech for the summit, one that would change everything. Lily woke before dawn to find her father already awake, staring at his communicator with a worried expression. What's wrong? Ship from the Altorian homeworld arrived during the night. High Chancellor Voreth himself. This is bad, Lily, really bad. Why, who's that? He's ancient, survived more wars than most species have fought. He's old guard, the hardest of the hardliners. If he's here, the council is making a move. Lily felt ice in her stomach. She grabbed the strawberry shortcake she had made, her best work yet. Real strawberries cost almost as much as the chocolate had. She needed to see Savara before it was too late. The royal ship felt different this morning. More guards, all standing rigidly at attention. The atmosphere carried tension thick enough to taste. When Lily reached the Queen's chambers, she found the entrance blocked by 6 guards instead of the usual 2. I need to see the Queen. Not permitted. High Chancellor Voreth has restricted all access. But she's expecting me. I brought cake. No visitors. Direct order from the High Chancellor. Leave immediately. Lily stood her ground, holding the cake. I'm not leaving until I see the Queen. Heavy footsteps echoed down the corridor. High Chancellor Voreth emerged from the shadows. He was massive, even for an Altorian. His exoskeleton bore scars from countless battles. One compound eye was damaged, giving his face an asymmetrical appearance. He radiated authority and barely contained anger. You are the human child, the one corrupting our queen with pleasure substances. I'm not corrupting anyone, I'm sharing cake. There's a difference. Cake, he said the word like it was poison. You exploit chemical responses in the brain to manipulate our queen. This is warfare by other means. Your species lacks honor in battle, so you attack through sensory corruption. That's crazy, it's just food, food that tastes good. Why is that bad? Because pleasure weakens resolve. It makes soldiers question duty. It makes queens prioritize personal happiness over strategic necessity. You have damaged our ruler's judgment in 3 days. Imagine the chaos if such corruption spread to our general population. 2 guards grabbed Lily's arms, not roughly but firmly. They took the cake from her hands and carried it away for analysis. She was escorted to a detention area, a small room with a locked door. Fear crept up her spine. These weren't people you joked with or reasoned with. They were convinced she was some kind of enemy. In the Queen's chambers, Sivara faced High Chancellor Vorath. Her guards stood between them, uncertain who to support if conflict arose. "You will cease contact with the human child immediately," Vorath commanded. "The Council has reviewed Commander Hilrith's reports. Your behavior indicates psychological compromise." "I invited Lily Harris as a guest. She has harmed no one." "She has harmed you, Your Majesty. She has made you weak. Questioning duty, seeking pleasure, forming attachments to aliens. These are not traits of a strong queen. Perhaps our definition of strength is flawed." Vorath's antennae snapped forward. "Careful, Your Majesty. Such words border on treason. The Council sent me here with evidence of concerning activities." He displayed data files. "The Harris family has connections to anti-Taurian political groups." Sivara studied the files. They looked legitimate, but something felt wrong. The timing was too convenient. "These appear fabricated." "You would defend aliens over your own advisors. This proves the corruption has taken hold." "I defend truth over manipulation. You created these files to justify removing me." "The Council seeks only to protect you from poor judgment. You need reconditioning, Your Majesty. Time in isolation to remember your training, to forget these dangerous new ideas about choice and happiness." Reconditioning. The word hit like a physical blow. They wanted to erase the past 3 days from her mind, erase Lily, erase the first real feelings she had ever known. Sivara felt something new rising in her chest. Anger. "I do not need reconditioning. I need advisors who understand that strength and kindness are not opposites. The Council has lost confidence in your judgment. When we return to the homeworld, you will face evaluation. If found unfit, you will be replaced." "On what grounds?" "Mental instability brought on by alien influence, your consumption of non-optimized foods, your emotional attachment to a human child, your questioning of military doctrine, all evidence of compromised mental state." Sivara looked around her chambers, at the guards who avoided her eyes, at the High Chancellor who saw her as a malfunctioning tool rather than a person, at the walls of her beautiful prison closing in. Then she thought about Lily's question, "What would you choose?" "Release the child immediately. She is innocent of all charges." "That is not your decision to make any more, Your Majesty." "I am Queen, it is exactly my decision." She stood straighter, voice carrying new authority. "I am not unfit. I am not compromised. I am awake. For the first time in my life, I see clearly. You want me blind because a blind queen is easy to control." "Your Majesty, please." "No, I will attend the summit as planned, but I will not sign the military alliance. I will propose peace talks and cultural exchange instead. I will suggest that perhaps other species have wisdom we lack. That strength without joy is just existence without meaning." Vorath's mandibles clicked dangerously. "The Council will never approve this action." "Then the Council can remove me. But I will not be reconsidered. I will not forget what I have learned. I will not pretend that duty alone is enough to justify a life." The High Chancellor studied her for a long moment. Then he made a gesture to the guards. "Release the human child. The Queen has spoken." Lily was brought back to the chambers. She ran to Sivara, relieved to see her safe. The Queen looked different somehow. Taller maybe, or just more certain of herself. "I apologize for your detention," Sivara said formally. "You are free to go." "What about you? Are you okay?" "I do not know, but I learned something today. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is choosing what is right despite fear. You gave me that lesson along with your cakes." Vorath watched this exchange with cold calculation. The Queen had made her position clear. Now the Council would make theirs. He departed to send new reports, more urgent ones. The ship would launch tomorrow. Everything was about to change. The station's kitchen felt crowded with Queen Savara standing in it. Her armored form looked absurd next to mixing bowls and measuring cups. She wore an apron Lily found, though it barely fit around her exoskeleton. Several young Altorian guards stood nearby, torn between protocol and curiosity. First, we measure the flour, Lily instructed, demonstrating with careful movements. You have to be exact or the cake won't rise properly. Savara's large hands struggled with the delicate measuring cup. Flour spilled across the counter. She made a frustrated clicking sound. My appendages are designed for weapon operation, not baking. Just go slow, you'll get it. News had spread through the station like fire. An Altorian queen was learning to bake. Humans pressed their faces against the kitchen windows, recording on their devices. Some found it charming. Others whispered about dignity and proper behavior for royalty. David stood in the doorway, watching his daughter teach an alien empress to crack eggs. Commander Hilrith maintained his post, but his posture had shifted. He no longer looked at Lily with contempt. Something closer to confused respect showed in his stance. He had served the Empire for 40 years, fought in 30 campaigns. Nothing in his training prepared him for this. The cake took shape slowly. Savara made mistakes, but she persisted. When the batter was finally ready, she poured it carefully into the pan. Her antennae quivered with concentration. Now we wait for it to bake, Lily explained. 30 minutes. While they waited, messages flooded the Altorian communication networks. Video of their queen baking spread across their empire. The older generation was horrified. Their perfect, untouchable queen was covered in flour, learning frivolous skills from aliens. Calls for her removal intensified. But something unexpected happened. Younger Altorians began commenting differently. They questioned why enjoyment was forbidden, why duty had to mean misery. They shared their own secret pleasures they had hidden for years, art they made in private, music they listened to alone, small rebellions against a culture that valued only warfare. A crack was forming in the rigid structure of their society. The timer chimed. Lily helped Savara remove the cake from the oven. It was lopsided, darker on one side than the other, but it was real, made by the queen's own hands. I created this, Savara said with wonder. Not commanded someone else to create it, actually made it myself. Now you have to share it, that's the important part. Savara cut slices for everyone present. The guards hesitated, looking to Commander Hilrith for guidance. He stared at the cake in his queen's hands. His entire career was built on following orders, on maintaining tradition. But traditions served the people, didn't they? If the people were hollow inside, what good was tradition? He took a slice. The other guards followed his lead. One by one they tasted cake for the first time. Their reactions mirrored the queen's initial experience. Wonder, confusion, delight. Some refused, walking away in disgust at the weakness being displayed. David accepted a slice and bit into it. This is actually pretty good for a first try. Lily beamed with pride. Her friend had learned to bake. Then the official messages arrived. High Chancellor Vorath's face appeared on the communication screen. Queen Savara, the Council has convened emergency session. We have voted. You are hereby ordered to return to the homeworld immediately for evaluation. You will not attend the diplomatic summit. If you refuse this order, it will be considered abdication. The kitchen went silent. Savara stood with flour on her robes and icing on her hands. She looked at the cake she had made, at Lily who taught her, at the guards who had tasted something new. I am going to the summit, she said quietly. Then you go without council support, without resources, without authority. The vote was near unanimous. Only the youngest counselors supported you. You will be removed when you return, possibly exiled. Is this human child worth destroying your life? Savara looked at Lily. She is not a child. She is my friend. She showed me that life without choice is not life at all. She gave me something more valuable than an empire. She gave me myself. You choose rebellion then. I choose peace. I choose compassion. I choose to propose at the summit that all our species might benefit from learning from each other. I choose to be a queen who leads toward joy, not just victory. You will lose everything. Perhaps, but I will lose it being who I choose to be, not who you programmed me to be. The transmission ended. Savara turned to her guards. I release you from duty. The council will likely order my arrest when I return. I will not ask you to stand against your own government. Return to the homeworld with honor. Most guards filed out silently, but 3 remained. Young warriors who had tasted cake and found it good. Commander Hilrith stayed as well. Commander, Savara questioned. I have served the Empire 40 years, Your Majesty. I believed duty was everything. But watching you these 3 days, I learned something. Duty without purpose is just obedience. You gave our people purpose beyond conquest. That is worth defending. Lily felt tears on her cheeks. This was her fault. She just wanted to share something nice. Now an empire was tearing itself apart. Don't cry, Savara said gently. You freed me. That is worth any cost. The ship would leave in hours. David's repairs were complete. Queen Savara would go to the summit knowing she might never rule again. But she would go as herself, not as a weapon. She would carry Lily's mother's recipe book as proof that another way existed. As they prepared to say goodbye, Lily realized something. Her mother used to say the bravest thing anyone can do is be kind when the world demands cruelty. Savara was being brave, and maybe, just maybe, bravery was contagious. The universe was about to find out what happened when a queen chose friendship over fear. 3 months felt like 3 years to Lily. The station moved on with its daily routines. Ships came and went. David fixed engines and hull breaches. Life continued. But Lily checked the news feeds every morning, searching for updates about Queen Savara. The first reports were bad. The summit rejected her peace proposal. Military leaders from 3 empires laughed at the young queen who spoke of cultural exchange instead of strategic alliance. She was mocked across diplomatic channels. The Altorian Council publicly condemned her behavior. Then something shifted. A junior diplomat from the Shallier Collective, the species everyone expected to fight, requested private meeting with Savara. He had watched her speech about choosing connection over conflict. His people were tired of war too. What if both sides were trapped in cycles of violence because no one had courage to stop? Negotiations began quietly, real ones without grandstanding or threats. 2 species talking about their fears instead of their weapons. It was messy and difficult and slow, but it was happening. Meanwhile, the Altorian homeworld was transforming. Young Altorians were openly questioning traditions. Food markets appeared selling items chosen for taste, not just nutrition. Art galleries opened. Music that served no military purpose was performed in public squares. The rigid warrior culture was cracking, and joy was seeping through. The council split into factions. Traditionalists demanded order restored by force. Reformers argued the changes were natural evolution. Civil unrest threatened. Queen Savara stood at the center of the storm, refusing to back down. Lily received a package through diplomatic courier. Inside was a holographic communicator and a handwritten note. The handwriting was shaky, clearly from someone unused to holding writing instruments. It said simply, "Thank you for teaching me to choose. Your friend, Savara." She activated the device. Queen Savara's image appeared, life-sized and clear despite the light years between them. The queen looked exhausted but determined. Lily Harris, I hope this message finds you well. Savara, are you okay? I've been so worried. I am fighting every day, not with weapons, with words and ideas. It is harder than any battle. The council tried to remove me twice. Both times, public support kept me in power. Mostly young Altorians, but some older ones too, people who were tired of living half-lives. I saw the news about the summit. Did the peace talks work? They are working. Slowly. The Chalier Collective agreed to temporary ceasefire while we negotiate. It is more progress than 300 years of warfare achieved, all because I learned that cake tastes better than victory. Lily laughed through tears. I never meant to cause so much trouble. You caused exactly the right amount of trouble. I established cultural center on the homeworld, teaching Altorians to bake, using the skills you taught me. It is small rebellion that grows larger every day. You're teaching baking, really? Badly, but yes. I burn things often. But the lesson is not about perfect cakes. It is about choosing to create something purely for joy, about taking ingredients and making them into more than their parts, like taking duty and adding choice to make it purpose. David appeared behind Lily, listening to the conversation. Queen Savara noticed him. David Harris, your repairs saved more than my ship. They saved my life. I just fixed some hull plates, Your Majesty. You gave your daughter freedom to be kind. That kindness saved an empire from itself. I owe you a debt I can never repay. Other species were taking notice. Ambassadors from distant worlds requested information about the Altorian Cultural Revolution. They wanted to understand how such a rigid society changed so fundamentally. The story of a mechanic's daughter and a queen spread through diplomatic channels. Ships began arriving at New Perth Station specifically to meet Lily. A trade delegation from the Varani cluster asked her to teach them about human food culture. A scientific expedition wanted to study the psychological effects of communal eating. Lily found herself accidentally becoming a cultural ambassador. She taught baking classes in the station's community center. Aliens of various species gathered to learn about cookies and bread and pies. Each species interpreted the lessons differently, incorporating their own traditions and needs. A fungal species made fermented cakes that glowed in the dark. A gaseous species created taste experiences that humans couldn't even perceive. The galaxy was learning that sharing food meant sharing understanding. Queen Savara sent another message weeks later. This one was an official invitation. She wanted Lily to visit the Altorian homeworld, to see what her friendship had built, to meet the young Altorians who were creating a new society piece by piece. David was hesitant. Taking his daughter across the galaxy to visit a species in the middle of social upheaval seemed dangerous, but Lily pointed out that staying safe meant staying small. Her mother had never stayed small. They prepared for the journey. Lily packed her mother's recipe book, the pages soft with use. Each recipe held memories, but now they would make new memories too. New worlds, new friends, new possibilities. The day before departure, Lily stood at the observation window watching ships come and go. Her father joined her, putting his hand on her shoulder. Your mother would be so proud. You took her kindness and made it matter to the whole galaxy. I just shared cake, Dad, that's all. No, honey, you shared hope. You showed people that change is possible, that choosing joy over duty doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. Lily smiled. Somewhere across the stars, Queen Savara was teaching someone to bake, probably burning the cake but trying anyway. Young Altorians were painting pictures, playing music, tasting food that served no purpose but pleasure. A civilization was learning to live instead of just exist. All because a lonely queen and a grieving girl found friendship in a slice of cake. The Harris family ship launched the next morning, heading toward the Altorian homeworld, toward new adventures, new friendships, new lessons to share. Lily looked at her mother's recipes and added a new entry in her own handwriting. Friendship cake. Mix 1 part kindness, 2 parts courage, 3 parts hope. Share with someone who needs to remember that choosing joy is the bravest thing anyone can do. Serves the whole galaxy. She closed the book and watched the stars rush past. The universe was vast and full of differences, but everyone understood the language of a gift made with love. Everyone deserved to choose their own path, and sometimes the smallest gesture could change everything. Her mother taught her to bake. Savara taught her about courage. Together, they taught the galaxy that connection matters more than conquest. That was a recipe worth sharing with anyone willing to taste it.